Hey guys, Dr. Bryan Wills coming live from Wills Chiropractic on another Wednesday. It's a beautiful day outside. I can't believe it's this awesome in August. Enjoy it because it's going to get hotter than heck next week. So last month we talked about some of the common conditions that we see in the office. This month is supposed to be kind of the start of football season and sporting season in school. And as you all know, with the pandemic, things are kind of up in the air a little bit what's going on. Sports kind of get pushed back. School, maybe in person, maybe remote. Haven't really figured that out yet at all. So I want to stick with the topics that I kind of laid out earlier in the year for what I talk about. And this month I want to talk a lot about the neck. And today I want to talk a lot about concussions. We're seeing more and more concussions, especially in younger children. And as a doctor, I always ask, why is that? Why are we seeing more concussions? So I want to answer that tonight for you, kind of help give you guys some tools to help avoid those, with especially your children down the road there. But first of all, just real quickly what a concussion is. Concussion is basically a bruise in the brain. Your brain is sitting in your skull here, your bony skull, and it's basically in a big fluid bath. And that fluid kind of stops it from smashing into the sides of your skull, basically. And your spine is supposed to have some curves in it to make it look like a spring, so that when you get hit or fall or you're in a car accident, your spine acts as kind of like a shock absorber and absorbs all the force from getting to your head, so that your brain doesn't come crashing into your skull. In a concussion, you hit so violently that your head whips around and your brain actually smashes into your skull and it bruises it. That's kind of the layman's terms of what a concussion actually is. If you get a severe enough concussion, it actually can cause a brain bleed, which, as you all know, causes some of the severe problems with death, even putting kids in a coma and things like that. So that's what a concussion is. We most commonly see them in car accidents, especially whiplash type injuries. But they can be in sports as well. And it's not just football. I know football's kind of gotten a bad rap over the years, but really, soccer has just as many. We see a lot in basketball. I'm even seeing a few in baseball now, which I've never seen before. And again, as a physician, I always want to know why that is. Well, the more I shoot, X-rays on kids and examination on kids, I'm finding more and more that the neck that should have a nice little banana-shaped curve in it is basically stick straight now. A lot of these kids, and the reason is because a lot of our posture now is down on the phone like this all the time, texting, playing video games, all this slouched posture, which is taking the curve out of the neck. And when you take the curve out of the neck, you lose that shock absorber for when you do get hit or fall or in that accident. And it's transferring that force to the brain, which again that causes that brain to kind of slam against the skull, bruising it, causing the concussion. So we need to figure out ways to get that curve to kind of come back into the neck. So I want to give you guys a couple little tips. I know I've done this before, kind of go over some of these same things, but I'm going to keep hitting it because it really is important. So one of the easiest ways to help that out naturally is to make sure that you especially with your kids, lay them on their stomach while they're texting or watching video games or whatever they're doing, because it'll force them into extension and help get that curve to kind of come back in there. So we do tummy time with babies because we want to develop that curve of the neck. Do the same thing with our children as well, and even adults. A lot of us are spending way too much time Googling stuff on our phone. Lay on your stomach while you're doing that stuff. Lay on your stomach while you're watching TV with your kids, just to get that curve to come back in here. Just don't sleep on your stomach, which we'll get that later on down the road here this year. So tummy time is great. Also, if you get a big towel, fold it in half the long way and roll it up like a cigar. And then we'll lay on the floor and put the rolled up towel right underneath your neck there. It'll actually put your neck in an extension while you're laying on the floor, and that'll help kind of get that curve to kind of come back in there as well. Obviously, the best way to get the curve restored is to figure out, number one, how much you've lost. And number two is you make sure you get your spine adjusted by a chiropractor so that we can get the bones moving and forming in the right direction there, so everything heals up properly. Again, in our office, we're seeing more and more people having necks that are basically stick straight. Also, horns growing on the back of people's heads. The muscles in the back of their neck are pulling so violently on the skull to hold their head up, because everybody's head so far forward that we're growing little bony horns on the back of people's heads, which is a very, very bad sign as well. So make sure you get in to see a chiropractor. If you see your kids walking around with this posture right here, I can pretty much guarantee their neck is going to be stick straight. And if it is, it leaves them way more susceptible to concussions, which means they're going to miss time in sports, And obviously, concussions don't lead to a good life outcome. Headaches, a lot of anxiety disorders come from concussions. Also, just being the neck being straight like that causes a lot of those things as well. So make sure you're getting yourselves checked as well as your kids, making sure that we get that curve back in that neck there, and you can help avoid a lot of those concussions down the road, whether it's an adult with car accidents, even kids with car accidents, or kids in sports. It's just a great idea to get these things checked out, get them fixed now before it's too late, before you start suffering concussions and then end up with post-concussion syndrome. So hopefully you guys get some value out of this, and we'll talk to you next week.